The Perennial Pastures Resilient Rangelands project is a future drought funded project. It is a project focused on getting perennial pastures back into the system and restoring those landscapes that over decades have been heavily grazed. Prolonged droughts have led to limited perennial pastures in that system, so looking at really drought proofing the landscapes and getting those perennials back in.
My name is Paul Theakston and I'm based out of Cobar. I work with local land services and I'm the Rangeland Rehabilitation Officer, and that role involves designing and laying out rehabilitation works and erosion control works. Rangeland rehabilitation is all about trying to look at what natural patterns and processes were in the landscape in terms of water flows and trying to recreate that. So in this particular project, a bunch of landholders got together as a community of practice, and they looked at issues that were affecting that group of landholders and implement some established techniques, but in implementing those techniques, monitor, get some more data behind it all so they can improve the techniques going into the future.
My name is Trudy Atkinson. I work with the New South Wales Department of Primary Industries and Regional Development, and I'm the Tech Specialist Grazing Systems, so that integration of livestock and pastures. But also I see my role very much as linking industry and producers with the research that the department does. So we came together to think about rangeland rehabilitation. The approach was to have a flat structure, so no one came in as the expert. Everyone that came around the table to develop the innovative strategy that they were going to test in terms of rehabilitating rangelands with a focus on putting perennials back in the system. Everyone's knowledge was accepted and everyone brought that knowledge to the table, and we all worked together to come up with something pretty good.
Rangeland rehabilitation, in the way that we've been implementing it, is fairly new in the western area of New South Wales. So yeah, information's always good. The more we have, the better we can apply techniques and improve techniques. We're going to gain a lot out of this project.
My name is Sarah McDonald. I'm a Research Officer at New South Wales Department of Primary Industries. I look mainly at pastures and rangeland environments. Looking involves putting some scientific design around the different methods, getting some replication in, and trying to really quantify and statistically analyse the changes that are occurring. We're trying to understand if the management has had an effect. Ideally, we'll be able to measure that change through time to understand how that is responding to different rainfall events, for example, but also using other technologies like remote sensing data, where we can look back in time over the last 20, 30 years to understand if it's a management or a seasonal effect that's driving the change.
Quite a few years ago, a fellow called Hugh Pringle started some programs here with the LLS called EMU programs, Ecological Management Understanding, and we started doing some work with him initially with that. It's progressed with a whole range of different things to help rehydrate the rangeland, and this program was to look at finer details of how we could improve it all.
What's the integration of the landholder's knowledge and the landholder's interest with the science? So we have that strategy, and in this case it's been ponding, ripping and seeding and a mixture, and then we put that into place. The landholders are bringing their observations of what's happening on site, but then our researchers can come out and collect the data, and we can wrap the data and analysis around that to inform and better make judgment about what we might change next time, but also to validate what the landholders are saying and seeing.
And everyone's got different ideas, and you bounce ideas off each other, whether it's seedlings, seeds, different variety of seeds, establishment, mechanical means or fencing. Yeah, it's really good to bounce ideas off other people to get their knowledge as well as yours. Even if it's an idea you haven't thought of, it may work.
We get a lot of value from the landholders. As much as we can, we're trying to involve them from the start in choosing what treatments we're actually looking to examine and what they're interested in, what they think we should be focusing our research on. I think landholders are really keen to get that data and see the data themselves. It's not something they often have, is having people come in to collect that and show interest in it.
Ultimately, with all this new information, I'll be able to apply rangeland rehabilitation techniques a lot more efficiently and also more cost effectively. And ultimately that means it's better for the agricultural productivity of the country, but also for the environmental benefits of the country as well.
So that opportunity to keep sharing that knowledge, but also to put it into practice and then to generate the results and then keep moving forward with the quantitative information that those type of trials and research generates, that's what we want to see. People working together and sharing knowledge makes landscapes work better.